Kids don't invent nightmares out of nowhere. They don't manufacture horror for attention. They put on paper exactly what their world looks like. And what 9-year-old Ariella Brown put on paper this week has reportedly set off an emergency response that could permanently destroy what's left of the Brown family. Within the last 24 hours, a confidential school notice allegedly sent to Robin Brown triggered a child safety report at the highest priority level. This wasn't about misbehavior. This wasn't about bullying. The wording that raised the alarm was far more disturbing. The concern was disclosure, the kind of disclosure teachers are legally required to act on immediately. What happened next pushed this situation out of reality TV drama and straight into legal crisis territory. According to multiple insider accounts tied to Ariella's private Christian school in Flagstaff, an incident during an art lesson caused staff to seal the classroom and contact authorities. Parents began whispering, phones started buzzing, and a post appeared inside a closed Facebook group used by families from the district. One mother wrote that her child had been removed from class alongside the Brown girl. Police were present in the principal's office. The teacher was visibly shaken. The reason, according to the post, was a drawing that showed a mother who wouldn't wake up, surrounded by scattered pill bottles. The words "sleeping mommy" weren't poetic, they were alarming. For years, viewers have joked about the strange sleep patterns inside Robin and Kody's house. Late nights, late mornings, children seemingly running the household. But this wasn't about being tired. This was about unconsciousness, a state a child couldn't interrupt. And that distinction matters. Children draw what they can see. If medication is drawn, it's because medication exists within reach. If pills are shown on the floor, it means they aren't locked away. It means chaos. It means danger. That's where the alleged email becomes critical. The message, reportedly sent from school leadership to Kody Brown, states that due to both the imagery and Ariella's explanation of it, staff were legally obligated to contact Arizona's Department of Child Safety. This wasn't optional. Teachers are mandated reporters. If they ignore a red flag and something happens later, they face criminal consequences themselves. This wasn't a fan calling in a tip. This wasn't internet speculation. This was the system doing exactly what it's designed to do when a child says something that sounds like a cry for help. The temporary suspension wasn't punishment. It was protection. What makes this even more unsettling is who Ariella has always been portrayed as: loud, fearless, unfiltered, the child who says what others won't. Kody laughed it off for years, called it personality. But what happens when that honesty turns inward, when the same child describes life inside the mansion instead of performing for cameras? The most haunting detail is the focus on the mother being unreachable. Excessive sleep, inability to wake. Viewers have long speculated about Robin's health, thyroid issues, exhaustion, stress. But once medication enters the picture, the story changes entirely. Sources close to production have quietly suggested for years that Robin's condition may not be as simple as it appears. Slurred speech, confusion, moments where she seems disconnected until Kody jumps in to speak for her. If Ariella is seeing bottles everywhere, that suggests over-medication, or worse, unsecured prescriptions in a home with children. And then there's the other detail reportedly present in the drawing: the father hurting the mother. We've seen Kody's temper explode on screen. We've watched him rage, shout, threaten, and intimidate his other wives. What we haven't seen is what happens when cameras aren't there. Abuse doesn't always look like fists. Sometimes it's screaming inches from someone's face. Sometimes it's throwing objects. Sometimes it's fear. To a child, violence is violence. A Level 1 CPS investigation doesn't begin unless authorities believe a child could be in immediate danger. That means caseworkers arrive without warning. They separate parents from children. They document everything, and they don't care about fame. According to people close to the household, panic has set in. Kody is allegedly claiming this is a coordinated attack, that the teacher is part of a conspiracy, that outsiders are trying to destroy his family. But paranoia doesn't work on social workers. They deal in evidence, not narratives. A case reference document circulating quietly online, currently being verified, reportedly lists concerns related to supervision, neglect, and environmental hazards. That term can mean many things: hoarding, unsafe living conditions, or unsecured prescription drugs. If a child can access medication strong enough to sedate an adult, authorities don't hesitate. Children are removed first. Explanations come later. Which brings us to the rumor that has terrified longtime viewers. For years, fans noticed how different Solomon and Ariella are compared to the older Brown children: less independent, more subdued, tightly controlled. Insiders now claim the household may rely heavily on sleep aids, possibly melatonin, possibly stronger, not just for adults, but to keep children manageable. If a child ever said something like, "Mommy gives me sleepy medicine too," in a classroom, this would instantly escalate into criminal investigation territory. Hair tests, warrants, immediate intervention. And suddenly, things began to make sense. Late last night, neighbors reportedly saw a vehicle with Nevada plates pull up to the Flagstaff property. No cameras, no producers, just family, Hunter and Logan Brown. They don't show up casually. They have lives, careers, distance from Kody's chaos. They appear only when something is seriously wrong. Hunter isn't just an older brother, he's a medical professional. He understands medication, sedation, neglect. If anyone in that family can immediately recognize danger, it's him. Witnesses claim voices were raised, gestures sharp, body language tense, Kody defensive, Hunter advancing. This wasn't reconciliation, this was confrontation. Logan, calm as ever, was reportedly on his phone, possibly calling legal counsel, possibly speaking with authorities. Logan doesn't panic, he acts. And then the situation escalated again. A message allegedly sent by Robin to her daughters, accidentally including a niece, has surfaced. The text urged them not to answer the door, claimed the family was switching to homeschooling immediately. No more outsiders. That isn't education, that's isolation. Pulling a child from school right after a mandated report is the fastest way to confirm suspicion. It cuts off teachers, counselors, safe adults. It traps the child back inside the environment that raised the alarm. Then came the U-Haul. Early this morning, a rental truck was reportedly seen reversing into the lower garage. The house isn't sold. There's no move scheduled, which raises a terrifying question. Are they moving belongings or removing evidence? Medication stockpiles can't be destroyed quietly. Documents can't vanish without trace. You load them, you move them, you hide them, and the route matters. Tracking data now suggests that vehicle is heading north on Highway 89, a road that leads straight out of Arizona and into Utah. If a child is taken across state lines during an active CPS investigation, that's not fleeing drama, that's a felony. And that's when everything changed again. A silver SUV blocked the driveway. Janelle arrived, Christine beside her. No cameras, no contracts, just mothers. The family Kody discarded is now standing at the gate, forming a barrier between him and the children. Authorities have since been spotted entering the property for a welfare check. If the house is empty, the situation escalates nationally. If the children are found inside, custody decisions may follow immediately. This is no longer a TV storyline. It's a race against time. A 9-year-old didn't expose this family with gossip. She did it with crayons. She drew what she lives with, and now the entire structure is collapsing under the weight of the truth. We are waiting for confirmation of where that U-Haul ends up. We are waiting for confirmation that Solomon and Ariella are safe, because once the system moves, there's no undoing it. This is the end of the illusion, and it started with a drawing someone couldn't ignore.
Children don't create fear for attention. They don't imagine danger out of nowhere. They draw what surrounds them. And what 9-year-old Ariella Brown reportedly drew this week has allegedly triggered an emergency response that could shatter the Brown family beyond repair. Within the last 24 hours, a confidential school action notice linked to Robin Brown is said to have activated a top priority child safety report. This wasn't about misbehavior. It wasn't about bullying. The concern listed was far more serious. Disclosure, the kind that legally forces teachers to call authorities immediately. According to multiple insider accounts connected to Ariella's private Christian school in Flagstaff, an art class incident caused administrators to halt lessons and involve law enforcement. Parents were notified, children were removed, and panic quietly spread through the school community. Inside a restricted parents' Facebook group, one message ignited everything. A mother claimed her child was taken out of class alongside the Brown girl. Police were present in the principal's office. The teacher was visibly shaken. The reason, according to the Post, was a drawing showing a mother who wouldn't wake up, surrounded by pill bottles scattered across the floor. Let that image sit with you. For years, viewers joked about the unusual sleep patterns inside Kody and Robin's home. Late nights, late mornings, children seemingly running the household. But this wasn't about being tired. This was about unconsciousness, a state a child couldn't interrupt. Children only draw what exists in their world. If medication appears in their art, it's because medication is accessible. If pills are on the floor, not locked away, that signals chaos and danger. That's where the alleged school email becomes critical. The message, reportedly sent to Kody Brown, states that due to the disturbing nature of both the artwork and Ariella's explanation of it, the school was legally obligated under Arizona law to contact the Department of Child Safety. This wasn't a fan tip. This wasn't online speculation. This was a mandated report. Teachers don't get a choice. If they see signs of neglect, abuse, or imminent risk, they must act. If they don't, they face criminal liability themselves. And that's what makes this moment different from every rumor before it. This isn't gossip anymore. This is the system stepping in. And this was only the beginning.
What makes this situation even more disturbing is who Ariella Brown has always been on screen. She wasn't the quiet child. She wasn't the one fading into the background. She was outspoken, bold, and fearless. The kid who said exactly what she thought while the adults laughed it off as just her personality. But honesty stops being cute when it exposes what's happening behind closed doors. According to sources close to the school, Ariella didn't just hand in the drawing and stay silent. She reportedly explained it, and whatever she said was serious enough to leave a veteran teacher in tears and force administrators to act immediately. That detail matters because drawings alone raise concern, explanations confirm reality. The most chilling element wasn't the pills, it was the focus on her mother being unreachable. A child doesn't fixate on sleep unless sleep feels frightening, unless it's excessive, unless waking someone up feels impossible. For years, fans noticed Robin's constant exhaustion, the long mornings, the confusion, the moments where she seems disconnected until Kody steps in and speaks for her. Viewers were told it was stress, health issues, the pressure of family breakdown. But when medication enters the picture, the narrative changes completely. Insiders tied to production have quietly speculated that Robin's condition may involve heavy prescription use, slurred speech, delayed reactions, blank stares. These are not traits of simple fatigue, and if a child is seeing pill bottles frequently enough to recreate them from memory, that raises a terrifying possibility: unsecured medication in a home with minors. That alone is enough for child safety to step in.
But the story doesn't stop there. There is another alleged detail from the artwork that has not been officially confirmed, but is being whispered by multiple sources: the depiction of a father harming a mother. Whether physical or emotional, that distinction doesn't exist to a child. Fear is fear. Violence is violence. We've watched Kody Brown lose control on camera, screaming, threatening, intimidating, exploding when challenged. What happens when there's no crew present? What happens when that anger has nowhere left to go? Level 1 CPS investigations are not routine. They mean authorities believe a child may be in immediate danger. Caseworkers don't schedule appointments. They arrive unannounced. They separate children from parents, and they document everything. And according to people close to the family, panic has taken over inside the house. Kody is reportedly insisting this is a setup, a conspiracy, that teachers have been manipulated by online critics, that everyone is out to destroy him. But paranoia doesn't work on social workers. They don't care about fame, followers, or public opinion. They care about evidence. A case reference document, now quietly circulating, still being verified, allegedly lists concerns involving supervision, neglect, and environmental hazards. That phrase is important. Environmental hazard can mean many things, but one of the most serious is unsecured prescription medication accessible to children. If a child can reach it, the state doesn't hesitate. Kids are removed first. Explanations come later. And this is where the rumors take a darker turn. For years, viewers noticed how different Solomon and Ariella are compared to the older Brown kids. Less independent, more controlled, more subdued. Insiders now claim the household may rely heavily on sleep aids, possibly melatonin, possibly stronger substances, to keep the children manageable. If a child ever mentions sleepy medicine in a classroom, authorities don't debate it. They escalate instantly. Which brings us to what happened next. Late last night, a vehicle with out-of-state plates reportedly pulled up to the Flagstaff property. No cameras, no producers, no publicity. Hunter and Logan Brown had arrived. They don't show up casually. They don't visit for nostalgia. They appear when something is seriously wrong. Hunter isn't just an older brother. He's a medical professional. He understands sedation, medication misuse, signs of neglect. If anyone can immediately assess danger inside that house, it's him. Witnesses claim voices were raised, gestures sharp, Kody defensive, Hunter advancing. This wasn't a family reunion. This was a confrontation. And Logan? Calm, focused, on his phone, possibly calling legal counsel, possibly speaking to authorities. Logan has always been the fixer. When he gets involved, it means the situation has crossed a line. Because at this point, this isn't about family drama anymore. This is about removing children from harm. And what happens next changes everything.
What happened after Hunter and Logan arrived is where this situation stopped being a welfare concern and started looking like a full-scale cover-up. According to multiple sources close to the family, the mood inside the house shifted instantly. This wasn't sadness. This wasn't confusion. This was panic. The kind of panic that only appears when people realize the system is already moving against them. And then came the message. A text allegedly sent by Robin to her daughters Aurora and Brianna was accidentally shared with an extended family member. The wording was short, rushed, and revealing. No doors were to be opened. No questions answered. School was over. Homeschooling would begin immediately. Outsiders were now the enemy. Dad is handling it. That sentence alone changes everything. You don't suddenly pull a child out of school mid-week unless you're trying to hide them. You don't eliminate teachers, counselors, and mandated reporters unless you're afraid of what the child might say next. Homeschooling, in this moment, isn't about education. It's about isolation. If Ariella stays home, the daily eyes disappear. No one to notice bruises, no one to hear comments about pills, no one to document behavior changes. The house becomes a sealed environment again. And then came the sight that set off alarm bells across Flagstaff.
Early this morning, neighbors reported seeing a U-Haul reversing into the lower garage of the Brown property. No for sale signs, no confirmed move, no closing date. So why the truck? You don't rent a U-Haul for memories. You rent it to move something fast. If there are unsecured medications, medical records, or written notes detailing household dysfunction, those items can't stay in place once authorities are involved. You can't destroy them quietly. You relocate them. And where that truck goes matters. Tracking information now suggests the vehicle left the property heading north toward Highway 89. That route doesn't lead to storage units. It leads out of Arizona. Crossing state lines during an active child safety investigation is not a misunderstanding. It's a felony. At that moment, this stopped being about CPS visits and became about potential flight. And just as that realization set in, everything escalated again. A silver SUV pulled up and blocked the driveway. Janelle Brown had arrived. Christine was with her. No cameras, no producers, no contracts, just mothers responding to danger. The women Kody pushed out of his life are now standing at the edge of his property, forming a literal barrier between him and the children. This isn't a scene for television. This is instinct. This is protection. Witnesses say authorities were called shortly after. A welfare check was initiated. A police vehicle was seen entering the driveway, passing the family gathered at the gate, heading directly toward the house. And now there are only two possibilities. Either the children are still inside and the investigation moves forward immediately, or the house is empty, and this becomes a nationwide alert. Because if a child involved in a mandated report vanishes, law enforcement doesn't wait. They escalate. And that brings us to the most terrifying question of all. If that U-Haul crosses the state line with children inside, this is no longer a custody dispute. It becomes child endangerment and unlawful removal. And the people standing at that gate, Hunter, Logan, Janelle, Christine, suddenly aren't just family anymore. They're the last line of defense.